This is Amy Howley reporting on a 2009 study about students and families' experiences with acceleration. It's a scholarly work that lets parents and young people tell their own stories. The study took place in Israel, so students' first names may seem unfamiliar. Otherwise, Israel and the U.S. have a lot in common when it comes to gifted education. Like the American education system, the Israeli system usually used an enrichment model as the basis for programs for the gifted. Grade skipping hasn't been used very often, according to the researchers. In the study, the researchers interviewed students who had experienced grade skipping, and they also interviewed parents. At the time of the interviews, the students ranged in age from 13 to 24. They had experienced grade skipping when they were from 5 to 12 years old. All of the students were in favor of acceleration. Here's what some of them remembered. Guy said, "Because my parents were always there for me, I do not recall the transfer period as a traumatic process." Efrat noted, "When the idea of skipping in math came up, I was a little afraid because the kids in the 8th grade looked so big. My mother gave me all the support I needed. We talked about my fears and thought that if it did not work out, I could go back to 7th grade and look for a different solution." Rita remembered, "Mother went to the school principal and told him that I knew the material, and he agreed that I should skip and study in the 2nd grade." In this study, it was parents, not educators, who brought up the idea of acceleration. Parents were concerned about the boredom and lack of motivation they saw in their advanced learners. According to Hagar's mother, Hagar stopped studying and started drawing and talking during lessons as a result of being bored. She became a problematic student. Or's mother got some pushback about his emotional readiness. When the psychologist had a doubt as to Or's emotional readiness to skip from kindergarten to 1st grade, I asked her to compare his emotional readiness with theirs. When she answered that there was no real difference, I insisted that he would skip to 1st grade. Guy's mother had a similar story. In order to accommodate Guy's needs, we were advised to choose a psychologist from a list recommended by the Ministry of Education. The results showed that Guy was both academically and emotionally precocious. The school psychologist finally agreed to skip him from 5th grade to 7th grade, but warned us, the parents, that it was our responsibility. No other help was offered on her part. So did these grade skippers actually experience any social and emotional difficulties? Sure, but all of them made the adjustment, and looking back, they found that grade skipping worked for them. Some of these students did have things to say about social and emotional issues, however. Rita was one of the 2 who reported these sorts of challenges. As Rita remembers it, "I was very shy and modest. Now I am different. I was short, and most of the kids were bigger than me in size and age, so I felt small, maybe because they made me feel that way. This is what I remember. Maybe it was not so bad." But she also said, "Everything with me and the way I developed fit the children I was studying with, who were a year older. I do not know how to explain it, but I have always felt better among older children. Maybe because I have an older brother and we are very close. I have always had the tendency to make friends with older kids. For example, even now that I am 17, most of my friends are 20 and older." Overall, parents and students found that grade skipping was beneficial. It helped, but the academic benefits had a natural limit. Or's mother had this to say, "Grade skipping does not solve the problem related to challenges. The student needs a framework constituting a higher level of studies. If you skip a grade, after a while you get back to the same spot of boredom. Gifted students' capabilities are relatively measured and compared to grade level and not age." This comment is consistent with what you'll read in the main text of the Foundational Concept on Advanced Curriculum. Even after a successful acceleration, access to even more advanced curriculum is important. These stories would probably be familiar to American students and families who have experienced acceleration. It's notable that, in this group anyhow, the parents had to raise the issue, and some were discouraged from pursuing acceleration by the professionals. This fact may suggest that the same kind of systemic barriers to acceleration exert influence in both Israel and in the United States.